Welcome back. Now, time flies. From the days when sending money to a friend or relative in another town or village was as difficult as just digging for gold, through periods when you had to travel several kilometers to queue at the bank just to check your common bank balance, to today, when your relatives in the US can easily send money to your mobile phone. So I wonder, what does the future hold for the economy with the growth in this form of technology? This is what we're going to talk about today. Before that, though, Nancy Emefa Jradosi has put together a piece to paint the picture for us.
In the early 2000s, many Ghanaians had to travel miles to simply find out details in their bank accounts. The most painful part was when they got to the banks to only find out that their accounts were actually empty. Later, many banks emerged, making things easier for many. But now we have what we call mobile money. But let me take you down memory lane about how the mobile networks even started. In March 1992, the first ever mobile phone call was made in Ghana. It was on Mobitel, which became Bars, now Tigo. It was then the only mobile cellular license in Ghana. Mobitel gave birth to the famous Ghanaian parlance, Mejina Bonting na Meka Sei, which means I am outdoors while speaking to you, as opposed to talking to people from a tabletop telephone, which is usually indoors. A year after Mobitel went live, in 1993, Celtel Limited, which later became Kasapa again, then Expresso. After Celtel, the first GSM license was given to Scancom Limited in 1995, and they started the first GSM network called Spacephone in 1996. Spacephone became Ariba, now MTN, and is probably the runaway market leader. In the same year, Spacephone launched the first GSM service in Ghana. The national sole fixed line carrier, Ghana Telecom, also got a mobile cellular license, and they later started another GSM network in the year 2000 with the brand name One Touch, which is now Vodafone. Those were the days when SIM cards cost over 1 million old cedis. Spacephone then sold SIM cards for 600,000 cedis, now 60 Ghana cedis. But One Touch, which positioned itself as a prestigious and elitist network, sold a SIM card for 1.2 million cedis, which is now 120 Ghana cedis. This was without any air preloaded. Just the SIM card cost that much. Obviously, mobile telephony was then the exclusive preserve of the rich and middle class in society. Today, however, SIM cards are actually free. Even those who sell it for 1 Ghana cedis give 1 Ghana cedis airtime for every purchase. But besides placing calls though, these telcos are now gradually replacing banks. MTN introduced the first mobile money service to the Ghanaian market 10 years ago in 2009. Since then, Tigo, Airtel, and Vodafone all now offer the same service. According to the Bank of Ghana data, the total value of all mobile money transactions reached 156 billion Ghana cedis in 2017, compared to 35 billion Ghana cedis in 2015. Now Ghanaians sit in the comforts of their rooms and withdraw and send money.
Isn't it amazing? Right, now let's have a look at some figures that will give us a picture of what the mobile money market is worth today. Check this out. Money has emerged as one of the most used means of payment. Volume of transactions for the first quarter of 2019 grew at over 39% compared to the same period in the previous year. That's according to the Bank of Ghana. Right, so here's the value of all the transactions recorded in the first quarter of this year, 66.4 billion Ghana cedis. Okay, that's against 52.4 billion recorded at the same period last year. So you see the growth is exponential, and it represents more than 26%. All right, 26% growth from one year to the next. Mobile money companies hold 2.7 billion Ghana cedis in balance on float. All right, so that's all the balance held in all Momo wallets as at the end of March 2019. Okay, so this means the platform has become so widely used as a means for remitting funds. 2.7 billion Ghana cedis sitting in wallets. Right, so mobile money serves services continue to grow, with registered mobile money accounts showing an increase of 16.8% to 29.6 million accounts as at the end of March 2019, compared to 25.3 million in the same period last year. So we now have almost as many mobile money wallets as we have people in Ghana. The number of active mobile money accounts increased by 13.13% from 11.2 million in the first quarter of 2018 to 12.7 million in the first quarter of 2019. Almost half of all mobile money accounts are active by that statistic. So checks popularity as means of payment have really declined in the first quarter of 2019, and that's what the Payment Systems Department of Bank of Ghana is saying. Of course, this is all due to the proliferation of mobile money. Now, the value of checks check transactions in 2019 went down by almost 5 billion Ghana cedis, representing more than 10% decline in the transactions recorded in the same period last year. Right, so it's clear. I mean, the impact of mobile money cannot be missed. So let's have a conversation about it. Let's learn a bit about it and what it means for our economy going forward. In the studio with me, let's say good afternoon to Moses Kandri. He's the co-founder of Alex Pay Africa. It's a Ghanaian company and it's a payment system provider. We also have with us Abdul Majid Rufai. He's a senior manager at MTN Mobile Money. Joining us on the phone is Archie Hesse. He's the chief executive of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems, also known as GIPS. Gentlemen, thank you all for your time with us this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Right, now there's a lot to learn. Maybe I'll start with you, Mr. Hesse. Good afternoon to you. Right, I'm told that we have a problem with the connection. We will reconnect with Archie Hesse. We were hoping to get a few definitions out of the way before we settle down for some of the detail, but why not get straight into it? Now, let me start with you. I mean, MTN is by far the leader when it comes to electronic money transfers using mobile phones. What do you think put you so far ahead of a service that pretty much is identical from one mobile network to the other?
Koyo, for us, I think it has been hard work and serious investments. From day one, when people even didn't believe in what we were saying. In fact, in 2009, there are banks that we approached. The bank said, "What are you talking about? I mean, we are not ready for mobile money." And then we have other banks who embraced, and they also put in a lot of effort. And the kind of investment we made is really what has taken us this far, because we had to invest heavily. We didn't think about making money at that time. We were just trying to see how best we can make the mobile phone a lot more convenient for our customers. And that's exactly what we did. And then today we are here, 10 years counting.
And now you're making so much money that government is trying to find ways of getting some, right?
Not making so much money. We are still trying to make our customers' life a whole lot brighter.
All right. Now, Moses, let's talk about the consumer here, the customer. In your experience, have Ghanaians really got it? That concept of trusting an electronic system to transfer your money safely and account properly for it without you having to, worry. Have Ghanaians really got it? And is Alex Pay, your company, seeing the benefits of that?
Thank you very much, Kojo. Like Rufai said, it took a while for the whole mobile money concept to resonate with the people of Ghana. And it has been the same story when it started even in Kenya, M-Pesa. It took a long time for people to begin to accept that. But as time passed, people began to build some confidence, just like I remember when MTN started with just voice calls. I was a manager somewhere in Boko, and the first day they commissioned it, I went to the market to try the phone, and somebody said, "Is this guy serious that this is working here?" Eventually, I made a phone call. It went through, and people began to scream because it worked. I earned the name 0244, if I remember clearly. But so mobile money has been the same way. The people of Ghana began to actually embrace it from the beginning, but not wholly. And along the line, there's been a lot of confidence. And I must commend the mobile money operators like MTN and the rest, because it took them a while to build that confidence. Now, we as fintech have just come into the market, and we exist because they have actually opened up that market, and it's because of them we are actually it's through them we are connected to the people. Now, what our additional value to this whole market is to give more value to the mobile money market, right? And assuring and giving also alternatives to the alternative products to the users. Now, you realize that there's so many unbanked people in Ghana, and so again, it's going to take a while, and it's going to take a lot of strategy to be able to continuously convince people that we have to go cashless. Okay, so I believe that Rome wasn't built in a day. For us, as Alex Pay, I just want to add, we came into the market realizing that we had some innovative products that we could add value to this. So I remember in 2017 when we started interoperability. Actually, interoperability existed even before interoperability globally, nationally was launched. So we started to do something, just like Express Pay, Slide Pay, and all those ones. So for us, we'll continue, or we will always add that value,
right?
But on the back of the telcos,
which is an interesting thing, because you see, you're operating in sort of sister sectors, if you will, but you're trying to complement each other. So a service like Alex Pay actually provides perhaps a little extra on top of just the ability to send money from one phone to the other. You would expect that if we are right and Ghanaians really get electronic, banking now, that you would probably have more customers than the telcos. Why is it not so?
Don't forget that we are consistently connecting to the telcos. Every day, if there's any new product, we even want to partner the telcos. At some points, we also develop some new products, and then we approach the telcos for partnership. So like you said, it's a sister thing. However, it is people are projecting that at some point the fintechs are going to overtake in this industry, but I don't see that happen, right? Because look, no matter what you still do, unless of course you become a telco and you are able to actually gather customers and then be able to add value to those customers using your product, we are going to consistently be connected to the telcos. So at all time we have to be moving with the telcos, just like the banks, right? The banks house our wallets or our floats. And so we say that, look, our best friend actually should be the bank. Because wherever we go, the last mile that we go that you cannot go, we are able to actually bring in or rake in the unbanked people and then keep that float with you. And this is where we always say, look, we need to be able to collaborate very well and strike the right partnerships. Remember, it's a young market, and this whole mobile money or fintech thing in Africa, it's just 10% of where it's supposed to be.
Right. Okay. Abdul Majid, let's talk about how this all affects the economy. We've seen the numbers, and it's clear there are so many mobile money accounts out there. You would expect that this would be a gold mine, for those seeking revenue for government, for those who want to document, economic activity. We're not there yet. What's the stumbling block?
We are not there yet. Today, we can talk about, I will not say we are there yet, various sectors of the economy. You can talk about insurance, you can talk about pensions, you can talk about remittance companies. You can see everybody is trying to collaborate, and collaboration as a result of electronic payments and mobile money as well. We are not there yet, because I think one of the key ingredients that we need to be there, once we get also government coming on board, okay, once we get all government services delivered online, go through electronic payments, we eliminate the use of cash in our payments. That's really what we get there, because take it on, the government is the largest spender, okay, so as long as government is ready to push electronic payments, that's where we can get. Because if you look at the various sectors of the economy, we are connecting to pensions companies, we are connecting to insurance companies, we are connected, banks are enabling savings products on the mobile phone. Today, instead of going to the bank to fill forms, to get a loan. That is making mobile money is making it possible to sit in the comfort of your room to request for a loan. Okay, so you could see in the various sectors of the economy we are getting there.
Right.
But once we get governments to also come on board, and then you can see how we can exponentially grow the space even more.
Help me understand what exactly should government be doing at this point? I don't know. Let me get Moses in on this. Do you agree, first of all, that government is not taking advantage of this explosion in the mobile money market? And if they're not, how should they?
I think in the beginning, when we at some point when people began to realize where this whole thing was leading to, government also at the same time listened and also realized, and so began to try to understand what exactly it was and where it was going. It led to some conversations around it from the government level to even the telcos level, and then to the fintech level. So I believe that all these then led to the regulations, because you see, we were in a space that was completely unregulated. So anything was possible. There were people, it didn't have, there was no confidence, all right? If you even went out there to look for funding for your product, everybody would be like, okay, you know what, Ghana is unregulated. There was nothing to actually show that you were even licensed and all that stuff. So the first step that actually government has taken by passing the payment system bill, which is a very fantastic step, okay, gives an additional credibility to the sector, okay? Now, if you listen to recent news, you realize that Ghana has completely overtaken Kenya in the mobile money market, okay? Nobody would have believed that.
In terms of saturation?
Exactly.
Wow.
Nobody would have believed that, right? So what it's left is for government to then allow for innovation, right, to then play. Why do I say innovation to play? I think that it is time for government to then begin to motivate not just the fintech or the telcos by some kind of incentives, but also to focus on, inputting into some of our curriculum, right? Programs that will allow young people who come out learn or gather the necessary skills in area of programming, in the area of developing and designing products. Because look, there's no doubt that if you look at the foreign markets, everyone is looking at fintech in Africa, and Ghana is always the first to be mentioned. What we lack is that kind of skill set and that kind of talent that will be able to fit the need or develop to fit the need of the market. And this is why I think that we are going to face some challenges we're going to have a lot of foreign companies that are going to come in with their expertise, their technology, and they would want to be able to take what actually belongs to the local people.
But that's interesting. I mean, if even you, the innovators, are admitting that, look, you don't have all the skills needed in order to maximize this market, then how can we expect government to know what they're doing? They're the ones who are seeking to regulate you. Do they have the expertise to do this?
The expertise are here. I mean, you don't need, it's not a rocket science. Look, assembly permits, okay? Company registration, taxes. Why can't government force electronic payments on top all of these issues? So, I mean, once we are able to employ these simple means, I mean, a lot of wastage will be cut down.
What do you think is the reason why we're not seeing this? Why is government not simply, passing rules and regulations that, okay, now all of your property rates, pay them via mobile money. That's the only way to do it. Or, taxes on these products and services, you can only pay them via mobile. Why are we not seeing that?
See, it's all about commitment.
So what is the difficulty? What's the downside?
It is not
of government committing to this?
Really, it will rather improve whatever you are doing.
Right.
Whatever you do now, it will improve what you are doing. Today, property rate, how many people are paying their property rates? And there are people who want to pay property rates, but just because it's very difficult for them to even go there to go and make payments. I tell you the issue about Ghana Water. There was, when Ghana Water was not on mobile money, there are people for 6 months, they've not paid their bill.
Yeah.
It's not as if they don't have money to pay, but because there's no time for them to walk all the way to the. Meanwhile, they are enjoying the water. But with the advent of mobile money, people are now paying their bills promptly. So these are the kind of things. Property rate, once you make it easy for people to make payment, because people don't want to pay their taxes.
Yeah.
Property rate, people don't want to pay anyway. So the more difficult you make it for them to pay, the more reluctant they will be.
Of course.
Okay.
And the nation loses out.
The nation loses out.
Right, Moses, let me ask you this. You're operating in the space, and this is a government that has demonstrated, at least to our hearing, that they want to create a digital economy. They want to move into paperless operation in as many places as they can. Do you see a commitment there? Do you see that government is actually pushing in that direction from where you sit?
I think that we've actually followed how this whole conversation around building a digital or a cashless society has unfolded. I think that the first was when we took those steps to build an interoperable platform which allowed us all to be able to speak to one another despite or no matter the telco that you actually belonged to. For me, it was the first step, okay, because there was no reason why you had 4 players and who didn't talk to one another. Yeah. I think that it was great government intervention. I think, and I have to commend all the telcos who actually played part.
But I still can't send money from MTN to
look, it's technology work, and so look, you would always find those bugs, all right? When you build a technology, it takes some time to be able to stabilize, all right? And even in the process of stabilizing, you realize that it might go down at some point, and then it'll have to bring it up and all that. It doesn't take a short time to be able to stabilize some of these things. So let's give it some time, I think, and I always say. But I think that we can always also consult widely. We can have a very wide conversation. I think there's no reason that the government or the central bank cannot bring all these players in the market together. And we sit down to see what kind of technology that we need to deploy to make this better. I think it will be in the interest of Ghanaians. I say this, and I said this a couple of months ago in Oxford, at the African Oxford Summit. I said that, we have gotten to a point where I do not believe that Africans should be looking for companies like PayPal to come and operate in Africa. We have every single product here. I'll give you an example. Before most of the fintechs, I know ExpressPay was in the market. They were doing a lot of things. They were helping you pay school fees. They were helping you pay water. They were helping you send money to bank. And then in came a lot of all these fintechs. Now the whole fintech market is growing. I'll tell you one thing that I was just discussing with Rufai when we were in the room. I said, look, there are certain products that when we actually come out sometimes, people don't realize, but it is far better than the PayPal. It is far better than most of the platforms that you would find globally. I'll give you an example. On AlexPay, for instance, in a couple of days, we are going to be launching a crowdfunding platform that allows you to raise money for anything similar to GoFundMe, but integrated to almost all the mobile money platform across many African countries. Right. Okay, we'll connect it to the other parts of the world. So for us, we want to think beyond even what these people are thinking for us. I think that the ability for an individual to be able to pay his water, pay his electricity, donate to a cause, send money to church, and all those kind of things. It's if we're able to network it with every single person in that stage of being able to use an account, then we can have a digital economy. But it's an education thing that we need to actually be able to.
I guess you're echoing the fact that that last step has to have government involvement in it.
It does, because again, like Rufai said, look, I think that government has the ability to say that, okay, you know what, or let's say local government should say that all MMDCs or all district assemblies should be able to collect property tax or digitalize their property tax collection system. I'll give you an instance. Sometime last year or last 2 years, we were invited by the SADA in Tamale, and we had all the DCs, all the DCs and all those people seated in one room, and they wanted us to be able to build a system that allowed property tax collection, water, electricity, all to be able to go through for the people of the northern region. Okay, but again, at some point, they had to stop the project because somebody probably said we should stop the project. Okay, but I think that we need to be able to actually take a stance and say we want to do this and we have to do it without any interferences from other people.
Yeah. Now, Abdul Majid, I know that I was asking the wrong person when I was asking why I can't send money from MTN to Vodafone. So you tell me, why can't I do it?
I mean, there are technical issues. I mean, you can send from MTN to another network. So between there's a switch in the middle, which is GIFs.
Yes.
Okay.
We're hoping to speak to Archie Hesse very soon.
Normally, when it is not always that you cannot send money to a Vodafone from MTN to Vodafone customer. Sometimes when there are technical issues involved, that's when at that time you cannot send. But really, I mean, all this, when issues happen like that, that's when we quickly move into resolve. Okay. So for me, the speed of when there are issues, the speed of resolution is what makes the most easier for the customers.
So basically, it's GIPS that's not, up to scratch.
No, I will not say they are not up to scratch, but they are in the middle. Okay. So if I'm sending to Vodafone, I need to send and then GIPS it terminates again, then GIPS move it to Vodafone. So I mean, the technical side could be on the side of Vodafone, could be on us, and could be along any of the chains.
So basically, what you're saying
normally when it happens like that, then we need to check at what level does the thing happen.
Because I mean, 95% of the time, if I try to send money to another network, I will fail. So are you telling me that there is just some sort
I think there was an upgrade
orchestra of errors that are constantly happening between telcos and GIPS?
I think recently you will see the announcement by GIPS of an upgrade that they did on the interoperability system. Okay, that upgrade sought to resolve some of these technical issues that are happening. I don't know how recent is your transaction failing, but probably you can try again and see, because there was a news update that integration is complete, and then we shouldn't be having those technical issues again.
Now, I know that there was some resistance when there was a bid to place a central switch, if you like, for phone calls, with the interconnect clearing house. And we heard the telco chamber explain on several occasions why you can interconnect just as well without it. Is that situation the same for mobile money? Can telcos interconnect without a central point?
I mean, in technology, everything is possible. Everything is possible in technology. We can do it without them.
Would it be more efficient?
Look, I'll say yes, it can be. Because the point is that if I'm connecting, it's a collaboration between the two parties. I mean, for everything that you are doing, it's a connection between myself and you.
Yeah.
But normally when there's a technical, the central person involved, what the central person does is that if I have to connect to Airtel, I have to connect to Vodafone, I have to do it individually.
Right.
All of us will have to do individual connections. But when there's a central person involved, it means you connect to that central person alone, and then you have access to everybody. Right. So that's what the central person brings to the chain.
But isn't it also to monitor, the value of the transactions for taxation purposes?
Well, I mean, monitoring the value. I mean, nobody will be willing to hide anything. Today, Central Bank is the regulator of mobile money in the country. Today they have access to all the platform. Everything that is on the platform, Central Bank has access to it.
Right.
So if any authority needs it, Bank of Ghana, those things are available. But I'm not sure it is to monitor those kind of things, because those records are there. I mean, the regulators can come in and request for anything that they want, and by law you are supposed to give it to them. So I'm not sure that is just to monitor those kind of things.
What's the future, Moses? What's the next frontier? What are the possibilities that all of this electronic banking and money transfers can open up for the people and in fact the government of Ghana?
I think the future is great. I think that when you mentioned the figures, you saw how the sector is growing. There's been, between last year and this year alone, there's been already 10% increment in transactions, which means that to continuously grow, we need to identify some kind of product. We need to be product specific. I mean, because people are going to now begin to respond to what kind of product you have in the market and how it's able to solve their problems. Two, we need to be able to also, discuss with government more and to just be able to clean up get them good regulatory systems. I think that we should be very careful as to what kind of regulations that we also pass so that it doesn't cripple or slow down the innovation. I think innovation is going to be very important. So that's why I always say that, look, young people coming out, I mean, there are some brilliant young people already in the system building fantastic product. A young man walked into my office the other day and he's launched it already. It's called My Trash Man, which allows you to go online, book for your trash to be picked up. Wow. And he's 18, 19 years old. And for me, I thought that this was fantastic. I think that every sector, every specific area that we might actually be faced with some challenges will have a solution. I think that we just need the government to actually open up the system a little bit more and just allow it to be that free flow, but with that limit, some kind of limitation.
Right, some regulation.
Yeah, regulations.
And of course, one of the reasons why regulation is important is to protect the customer. Exactly. Now, we know that mobile money's journey has not been smooth sailing all the way through. There have been some hiccups along the way, and there was a time when the number of complaints about mobile money fraud was just, it was catastrophic. Somehow you found a solution called Allow Cash Out. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But how safe today is the mobile money use? And let's be honest. I know that you're selling a product and you can't really, but let's talk about the reality of what the gaps are, that currently exist.
The reality today is the fact that since mobile money was launched in 2009, we are 10 years. The safety of the platform has not been in doubt. Okay, that's one thing that should be out there. The safety of the platform and the transaction of customers has not been in doubt. The mobile money is as safe as how you yourself keep your wallet. Okay, so and for us in our education, we keep on saying, customers, there are 3 golden rules that we keep on telling customers, and it can affect you. It's not, for me, these particular rules are not peculiar to mobile money. If you apply it to any other sector, the banking sector, it can still hold. So one is that for mobile money, you have a PIN. Do not disclose your PIN. It's just like having an ATM. I've given my ATM out and I've given my PIN out. Okay, so you've opened your doors. Do not disclose your PIN to anybody. It's just if you are telling your wife or your husband, don't disclose your PIN. Okay, we are saying do not allow somebody to do transaction on your behalf, because the moment you allow somebody to do transaction on your behalf, invariably you definitely give out your PIN. Okay, and the person does that transaction once. Tomorrow your phone is lying there, the person can do transaction on your behalf as well and pass it any other way not authorized by you. And the other thing is, do not entertain calls or text messages to discuss your wallet.
Right.
And today, all the fraud complaint that we've had is as a result of social engineering. So somebody will call you and say, your sister has sent you goods from abroad, you need to come and pay money. You don't verify. Then you go and pay. Somebody can just forward you a text message and say, just text message, the transaction that he has done, he just modified the text message and forward it to you and say he has sent you money, you need to send it back. You don't check, and you also send your money to the person. Okay? Somebody can call and use my name. I'm calling from MTN, my name is Majid. Okay, we are teaching you on how to do transaction and then you don't check. So today, the fraud related is as a result of social engineering. And for us, the battle, what we are trying to do to counter is education. Because we keep on saying that once the customer is fully educated, because there's no way I can prevent somebody from calling you. That one I cannot. Today, there are some keywords that we've employed in the text message, and we are blocking thousands of messages every day because you can't send message in the handle of mobile money.
Yeah.
Okay, so because once you send it, it means it's genuine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are blocking those handles. So if you look at the message that people are sending, so they will change mobile, they will make it MIBIL, Mibili, those kind of things, just to treat the system. But we are blocking thousands of SMS every day to customers, and that's something we can do. But there's no technology that can prevent social engineering. Absolutely no technology that can prevent social engineering. So for us, continuous education is the way to go. Once the customer is empowered and is educated, there's no amount of fraud. Today we are seeing people that when they call, they record it and then
they play it back for
everyone to laugh.
Yeah.
Okay. So it means that the work that we are doing is gaining grounds. People are becoming aware of what the fraudsters are up to. And normally when you launch promotionally, and this complaints has been as a result of the growth in transaction volume and value that you just read. Once those spaces keep on going, we still have people who will sit down trying to find ways. But the safety of the platform, we keep on telling our customers that their money is safe. Yeah. The money that are in their wallet, it doesn't sit with us, it sits with the banks. Okay. And this is heavily regulated by Bank of Ghana. Yeah. So their money is as secure as they keep their pin safe. They stop entertaining calls from people. Because MTN, when we are calling, we call with 024 for 300,000. And I'm sure the other telecommunication network as well, they have a unique number that they use to call their customers. So once you receive a call, it is not from that one number that is coming from the company. You just need to ignore it.
All right.
This report.
Abdul Majid Rufai is from MTN, as you probably guessed. Thank you so much for making the time to be there. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary of mobile money. And well, if you are an MTN customer, then I guess they owe their success to you, right? Yeah. Also here with us, Moses Kandri from Alex Pay, an innovative company that is providing payment system solutions to Ghanaians. We appreciate your time with us.
Thank you very much.
Well,